Bad update. Bad update on a situation. I don't totally get it, but um about let's see, two or 3 years ago, uh I smoked cigarettes. I shouldn't. I should have never started again. And actually my grandfather told me that if I ever started smoking again, I would go to hell. And I would probably die or probably would get killed for it over a cigarette butt. Now, about 2 years ago, I'm smoking a cigarette. I was supposed to go out here to the dumbass playground equipment in order to smoke. Someone from Miami, Florida, would not back off. Just about sat on top of me and started playing hip hop music as loud as he could. We get into an argument 2 or 3 years ago. Apparently, the guy and his dad, he's 30, his dad's like 50 or 60. They don't live here all the time, which is suspicious. They come up here for whatever reason. The guy, this 30-year-old guy from Miami, has threatened my life verbally and used all manner of slurs against me. I'm not gonna say because I don't want to get banned from YouTube. Now, he actually did it again yesterday. I am concerned for my life. Now, all that is due to the fact that I was smoking. I didn't want someone sitting next to me and then bumming cigarettes constantly. I just don't want that. We get into a real bad argument. Okay? He has pulled the hubcaps off the vehicle. My father was actually a hard-working man. He put a lot of work into the vehicle that I have. And this 30-year-old from Miami has pulled the hubcaps off the car and bent the license plate and then ripped off the tag. I don't even know if my tag's still on there. Okay? So weird. So that's what happened. Now, talking about some stuff here, I do own a podcasting microphone. Occasionally I use it. I do talk a little bit about politics and manhood and just providing, protecting, being nice to the opposite sex while, keeping the same sex away. I'm also in the process of converting to Catholicism. So, does somebody want to explain why there's now a similar thing happening to me that may have happened to some other people on the internet? Nobody watches my channel. Nobody. I might get 1 view. I might get 25 views. But I do own a podcasting microphone. I do occasionally play the guitar. I've had lessons. occasionally I'll get in here with some shaker eggs or some sticks or whatever. And well, here's something weird. I was thinking about building a percussion kit in order to understand that I'm actually supposed to, if I'm going to play music, it's with my other musicians, but people I trust. So I was thinking about building like a tamale kit with my cowbell and my jam block and stuff like that. Why is it that somebody from Miami, Florida shows up to maybe try to wreck my music career, my future life, my future marriage? Like, I was really thinking about asking someone to marry me. And then whether they say yay or nay, I mean, I have never been in that place. I have a bachelor's degree. I have an associate's degree. This stuff right here, I actually started like purchasing it. Like, these mats were an incredible investment for someone that has almost no money. I have bought like jiu-jitsu curriculum. I've taken some martial arts classes as well as just like one or two jiu-jitsu classes. I was involved in like some kind of Shotokan karate / Aikido grappling years ago, before jiu-jitsu was maybe the standard foundation for mixed martial arts grappling. And he, like I said, this guy, he's not even some guy. Everybody, and I've had a couple of people in town say, a couple of people, one, two, say he's really bad on cocaine. Really bad on cocaine. And I've seen him just like almost possessed go around and just screw with everybody. So luckily, I have enough experience calling the police that as soon as the incident happened, I was able to get a police officer over here who said he would make a report. There would be a report at the courthouse. And that if he bothered me again, I could then take out a warrant for his arrest. Now, like I was saying, with theories and stuff, I do watch like Catholic oriented YouTube videos, and I don't want to mention names for their safety. Like, I'm not just not going to go there, but there are now similar stories of this kind of same thing happening to other people, and it concerns me that it's not a spiritual thing. It's a physical thing that's really happening. Now, wait a minute. Let's go back to about 3 years ago when I first moved in here. I believe we were in the Biden era. Food was incredibly expensive. So I was taking some supplements like that I don't want to mention. I don't take many supplements anymore because I almost died from taking supplements. I'm in the hospital, several times like 3 years ago. And they said, yeah, the supplements are about to kill you, dude. We don't know what to do. But you also have Molly in your system that there's no, and he was like, there's no need to explain it. Someone either gave it to you or slipped it in your drink or did this or did that or whatever. So someone had introduced Molly, which is like some kind of combination of speed and MDMA into my system, which almost killed me. Now, that person who I think was involved in that, I was in here reading one night about Egyptian mythology. Like, I'm trying to figure out some stuff. Like, what's up? So I step outside. It was like 4 o'clock in the morning. This is another guy. I step outside at 4 a.m. The guy runs out of the front of his apartment and comes into the front of my apartment like a gigantic asshole. And starts saying that I need to be careful what I read inside my apartment. I need to be careful what I read inside my apartment. I don't know how he knew what I was reading about. But he also said, you know, I can sit here at 4 o'clock in the fucking morning while I'm reading religious material. The guy says, you know what? I can sit here with this cigarette in my hand and say whatever I want. Okay. So today, and I've told him, like, back off. I don't want, I've got a very, very educated person. Today, this guy, like I'm talking about on the corner with the Molly, walks by, right by my car, with a fucking dog. And I'm in a bad place. So I kick at the dog and I tell him to get away. And the guy looks like, he like back looks me like I did something wrong. What the hell is it about me reading, me playing the damn guitar or little, having some little sticks? I have some drumsticks. I don't know how to fucking play music. Like, what is it about that just gets, the devil decides to jump into people and literally come to my front door to threaten my life? What is it about that? It's the devil and drug addiction and other people and me trying to figure out what I'm called to do or what I want to do in life or so on and so forth. Damn, let me explain the bachelor's degree that I have took way more than 4 years. It was a nightmare. It was a nightmare. I started college when I was 19 at the local university or college right down the road. Was there like a year and a half or 2 years, a year and a half or something. I did 30 semester hours And then I started thinking, well, maybe what I need to do, since I wanted to do computer science and they didn't really have a computer science program, I started getting interested in like pure and applied mathematics and said, well, what I'll just do is get like a foundational bachelor's degree in mathematics. And then as far as like stuff, I mean, it kind of just bolts together. Maybe it'll come into some use later on, or maybe I can just say, yo, I got the bachelor's, I got a piece of paper. But it did, like I said, I started college when I was 19, transferred to someplace down about an hour away. And the bloody psychiatrist that I was forced to see put me on like 5 or 6 fucking psychiatric pills, which bloated me up from about 180 pounds to about 300 or 400 pounds. I don't think I needed to be on that much medication. I was very underweight. I didn't have an appetite for a while, for God knows what reason. Yeah. And then I've been in a mental hospital about 35 times, so on and so forth. And I don't know why, that kind of thing. But I dropped out of college around the age of 24. Technically, I was a junior or almost a senior. Like, if I would have taken like a full load as a senior, I'd have been done at the age of 24. Now, like I said, I got so sick from people treating me like garbage at university, and then taking 5 or 6 psychiatric pills by force, running out of money. Like, I started having some issues with a little bit of alcoholism, and I had to just stop. It took 4 or 5 years of therapy for me to say, I guess I'll go back to college. So what I did was I paid out of pocket to take one class at a time to finish my associate's degree. I think maybe I was 28, and I finished my associate's degree by the age of 30. It took that long. And like I said, I paid out of pocket. I went to the camp. I guess I got a chance to see the campus for one semester where I took a full load for the associates. And it was full of dumbass kids, like 17, 18, 19 years old, who had no respect for me until like fights went down. And they asked me not to ever come back. So a year passed. I go over to Georgia. I go over to my alma mater, where I have 3 classes left. Read them and weep. After all that, I had 3 classes left. It was like a physics 1, which stomped my ass. Then there was a calculus-based probability course, which most people at that university say, wham, I'm done. Boom. I actually took that class 5 times. I got through it with a C after I just about had to fight the professor. And then that last semester I had to take, it was like, if you ever seen the show Family Guy, where the dog Brian has that one class left to take, that was me. And decides to not only study really hard, but also like start training in unusual ways. That happened to me in my last semester of college. Well, there's other stuff that happened that I'm not going to mention. Like the fact that I decided it was almost impossible to go on a date in college. For whatever reason, the females were cruel. Cruel. They were cruel. More to it than competitive and all that shit. They were just almost inhuman in how emasculating and all this shit was. I ended up getting a damn bachelor's degree. But I had some stuff to do, so I volunteered for the Red Cross for like 2 years. I've been on disaster deployment, like 2 disaster deployments. One in Georgia, one in California. That they said I did not do a good job as a volunteer. Even though what I ended up doing was security work inside of a shelter. They still said, just that's not what you were supposed to be doing. Excuse me. The weird story is that there was Red Cross and then there was the paramilitary and the military out there trying to help the disaster that happened in Northern California. So I kind of buddy up with this guy who had like a master's in engineering or something. And we had to take back these paramilitary chicks. Don't worry about it. To some location. I don't know if it's a base or just a campsite or whatever. Well, we get me and the engineer, the old engineer guy, we get chased out of the base by a Black Hawk helicopter. And so, not good. Not good. I don't want to say Danger is my middle name anymore. I want to be like Mild. I don't want mild and rich. So not stressed out about anything. Just if something comes up, I want to be able to just go bam and it's done. So after the Red Cross, there was nowhere to work. There was nowhere to work in this state of Georgia. So I decide to just say, well, I'll move to Florida and just work. So I end up, the job I got was at a warehouse, which if you know a little bit about work for men, it's kind of supposed to be labor intensive. Just throwing that out there. I ended up working in a warehouse. I'm still on psychiatric medicine. And I'm just saying, I was not cut out for it. So I ended up working at a gas station right around the block from the University of Florida. And I'm an asshole. I don't know how to treat people at all. It's something I kind of had to learn about 40 years old. Anyway, it's staffed by a former meth addict, someone who has medical marijuana puffer. I ended up getting cussed out and threatened by some homeless Puerto Rican person who wanted a job. She wouldn't stop. And then I just said, man, well, what happened was COVID-19 broke out. And then there were protests and riots going on. Like you could, my neighbor, I had like 2 different apartments down there where like one that I had like a mildew problem. So one set of neighbors was like a guy who was, I think he was a doctor. Let's just put it that way. One guy was a doctor. The other guy was some kind of literature major from French Algiers. And then my other neighbors were from Pakistan doing their doctorate in agricultural engineering. I'm just like, I gotta work at a gas station, bro. I gotta work at a gas station with a bachelor's degree. Yeah, COVID broke out and there were riots and shit. I got in some fights because people were blocking me from getting into my vehicle. So I had to like smack some dude in the jaw with a tree limb. I hate stuff like that. Like, give me a break. You know, I'm trying to be an essential worker for your dumbass, where you actually go down there and get a soda every day and try to block me from getting into my vehicle. I'm tired of crap like that. I only have like so much fight in me. I ended up moving back here and stuff, and just my parents were adamant and controlling about the fact that they think I have a psychiatric disorder, and it turns out that psychiatric medicine lowers estrogen and testosterone levels to like nothing. So, somehow I got this place. That's all I'm gonna say. And it's been one thing after another with any kind of people beating on my door all times of night, confronting me in front of my home, so on and so forth. You know, another thing I'm dealing with is potential homelessness, because, you know, potential homelessness, potential imprisonment, because who knows what's going to be said by who. And then I'm actually a disabled man. I'm disabled. But what if they just cut off my check for whatever reason? Because I don't want to go to the doctor. I'm kind of interested in this concept of Catholicism plus clarity from Scientology has, I think, been going on for a couple of months. And then I don't want to take psychiatric medicines and lose all my muscle mass. So I'm sick of it. If I don't get shot over a cigarette butt, I'm going to try to apply for work maybe in Atlanta, Georgia. I really think that, like, if I could somehow find a job in Atlanta where, like, maybe I'm working during the day or something, then Then I'd be home at night, and I just have a couple hours to talk about what's going on with my stepkids, stuff like that. Anyway, that's what I want. That's what I want. So we'll see what happens. Peace.